Hey, good evening, everybody, and we're welcome to another Tuesday night edition. An interview with somebody I'm sure everybody knows, but you're saying Randy House. Who is Randy House? I mean, he goes by many other names, but of course, he has one nickname that everybody knows him by, and I don't need to say it here because I know everybody in the chat knows that. But let me bring the man of the hour into the show tonight, so we don't leave him in the green room any longer than he needs to be.
Right.
Hey, Randy, how are you doing, man?
I was doing pretty good. No. I am now the artist formerly known as Drunken Randy. I can't quite live up to that reputation anymore. Getting old.
I understand. Now, are you still down in Florida, or have you already moved?
No, up in southern New Hampshire now.
You have completed that. Yeah, that was in the fall, right? When you got out of here, ish.
Yeah, no, we just left. We got here last week.
Oh shoot! Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You went on numerous cruises and then just got the heck out.
Yeah, that's it. I think you had your thing going on. I was already scheduled for a cruise and whatnot. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I lived on a boat more than I did at the house in Florida.
I don't blame you. That if I could do that, I would do it too. But I haven't been on a cruise in a number of years, so I'm definitely overdue.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's definitely a good time.
So the reason you moved back to the Great Northeast?
The snowstorm that was coming in, because I couldn't miss the biggest snow of the season. Timing is everything, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it was mainly because of the family. It's just like being down there was nice. The weather year round was not until it got to summer, and you'll find that out soon enough.
I will.
It's like August. Oh, forget it.
Don't step out of the house, right?
No. But I mean, that's what people in Florida do, is they live in the air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Vegas.
I'm gonna get used to it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just to be back home with family, and so we're not also. And I think you lived it as well too. Is throwing away 2 mortgages. So it's like, the time that we weren't down there, it's like we're paying for a vacant home. So we made the move back up permanent. So we're enjoying the snow that's melting now, I think. So
well, it's almost springtime there. I went to school in Beverly, Mass. So I spent a lot of time in New England. I lived in Maine for a while, so I love the area. Yeah, I once owned about when I first got married, I bought like 55 acres in Maine. I was planning to build a cabin there, and that's where I wanted to live. And I just got kind of in a got a good job in Ohio, and we ended up never doing it. But that was kind of my dream location, was the Northeast. I just love that whole area.
Yeah, that's a good place to live up there.
Yeah. I never got the accents down too well, though. Everybody could tell I was from Ohio, so it never worked out. But I do say soda now. I don't say pop anymore. Everything is soda to me.
Yeah, I grew up in Detroit. That's where and pop. Yeah, that's where Fago.
Exactly.
It's like insane clown posse time. It's pop. Yeah, pop. Here's your pop. Yeah.
So let's talk about you, Randy. We've it's because the funny thing is I mean, I've seen you dozens and dozens of times at shows, usually behind the table, hanging out with an artist or something. And we actually have never really talked a whole lot. I mean, I've run into you a few times at at shows.
Did I tell you that? Yes, I have been professional many years. This was one of my names, I said, and yeah, there's a
Darwin Cooke one too.
Yeah. I told no fish stories. I pretended to be these people, and no, I don't think so.
Well, that's why it's like I remember you were everywhere, and and so we'll get to that point. But so, how did you get into comic art collecting to begin with? I mean, and was it comic art collecting, or was it more just the social aspect of it? I mean, or was it, how did you start going to cons in the first place?
That is a really good question. I pulled that one out.
Well, that one's actually got your name on it.
Yeah, and look how it's handwritten there, and it wasn't even my writing. Somebody, so this was what a badge to SDCC looked like in '94, and that was my first big show. And I
Hmm.
think maybe the year before, I think there was a show called Atlanta Fantasy Fair, and I remember walking up to Jack Kirby, shaking his hand, and just saying thank you. That was it. I didn't ask for a sketch. I didn't ask for a signature. I just basically thanks. Uh, you know, I didn't know what to do at a Comic Con.
Did you? What was the purpose for going to the show?
I went for the purpose of going to the show and seeing what this comic convention or
Yeah.
comic show thing was all about. I mean, when I was in high school, I I entered the world of comic books. Well, even maybe a little bit before that, but because I remember going into my cousin's stack of old Silver Age comics. What we would call Silver Age now. It was
Hmm.
my age, or slightly a little bit before my age, but I don't want to give too much away, right? I'm 92 according to Frank Thierry. Um, but it's a bug, and I was like, wow, comics, these comics are cool. And then I started working at a flea market for a guy, and he paid me in comic books. And even one time, and I think the first taste of original art that I ever got, that I don't have, like most of it, it was a Gil Kane layout for Warlock, issue number 1,
Oh
and it
wow.
had some great shots of Adam Warlock in it. And yeah, that's one of those. That's one that got away. That I wish to this day I'd said, "Hey, this was my first piece of art." But at some point, I sold it for I don't know what reason, But
Hmm.
hookers and blow. Who knows? I have no, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Is this an adult oriented audience, or
We're gonna be able to write a memoir for you after this thing, I think.
no? But I think that's how I got into it. And then yeah, and then fast forward that Atlanta Fantasy Fair, then San Diego, and I was like, wow, this stuff is pretty cool. And all these years later, yeah, it's just like I want to go to try this, check this show out, check this show out. This year, for the first time, I'm going to Italy, to Steve Morger's
Yeah,
show,
come on.
and I'm super excited because just like I intend to meet George Clooney. That's my goal.
You're gonna be a stalker.
That's it.
While you're there.
Just kind of floating on the lake, around his house.
You just mentioned Oliver, but Ben Erickson says Oliver just asked what that was. So yeah, yeah. I guess this is a kids program.
Oh well, yeah. I hope that Ben. Well, Oliver, you can see behind me here. There's I can grab it here. This is not not published, and I still have to get used to that angle of the camera. But yeah, Darwin did that piece for Oliver. Um,
Very nice.
very sweet gesture. Um, but Oliver Queen, so Oliver, it fits. My grandson, 9 years old.
Man, no
But he doesn't
grandkids
know
for
what
you yet.
he doesn't know what hookers and blow is. Okay, so he's not.
That's good. If
It's
you keep
it was
saying it, he's
fishing.
gonna know.
Oh, it's fishing, and the fish. They go like whales. They blow air. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
it.
So, see, I thought when you shook Jack Kirby's hand, I thought maybe that was why you went to the show, but it was more just to experience the show. It wasn't. You just happened to
Yeah,
see a
no,
line
I
from
didn't
Jack
even know
Kirby.
Jack Kirby was a guest.
Yeah.
I was in an elevator with Chucky's mom, and she just got out of the shower, and she had wet hair. It's just one of those little things because I did play kind of hard back then in those days, and so it's one of those memories that I've actually kept. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was cool, and having the king there, so I guess that really helped. It's like who's next? I think my biggest regret was missing San Diego. I think it was 2005, and that was when Frazetta was a guest there, and I was just like, why of all years did I not go out then?
See, and I was there and I didn't see him, so
Oh, really?
that's even worse to actually be there and not have gone to. Back then, you'd think, oh, I'm going to be able to make it over to PA sometime or whatever, and yeah, you just never know anymore, especially.
No, you're right. And I remember going to a show, I don't know how many years ago, whatever. I remember seeing George Tuska, and I was like, oh, I mean, I'll catch him at another show at some point, and
Mhm.
and it's gone. It's
Right.
like,
I mean, I think I saw him, because I started going to shows in earnest probably around 99. So yeah, I'd see Tuska and I thought the same thing. It's like, I'll see him, I'll pick up something someday, direct from him. And yeah, you can never wait. That's the thing.
no,
If the
you're right. It's just
opportunity
like,
exists, take
yeah,
it.
like I remember him, Murphy Anderson, like every
Hmm.
show. I'm like going, at some point, you just got. So yeah, so I guess there are these regrets, that it's like I've made a ton of really good friends, who are pros, but some of those regrets are like really not meeting those icons. It's like when I
So,
had the opportunity.
so how did you go from being, the fan on the other side of the table in 94 to the guy who I always saw on the artist side of the table by the early 2000s? I mean, that's in a short period of time, you got pretty well known.
Well, I think that part of it was just kind of my beginning with sketches and whatnot.
Mhm.
I basically as I was collecting a few comics back then, but then I learned this art of taking the backing board out of the comic and like just, may I have some more, sir? Back and back then, they were sketching for free. It was like, oh yeah, I'll do a little doodle on a backing board for you, and then it kind of became, so it's like, oh hey, I remember you, da, 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 and and then I remember being at an early show and uh, Forrest Ackerman. I'm a big horror fan. Well, I will come to that, but I'm like, Uncle Forey needed to go to the bathroom. And would you watch my table? This was my first adventure behind a table, and I was young enough then that they didn't come up to me and go, "Are you Forrest J. Ackerman?"
They knew you were keeping his seat warm.
So those are a lot of fun memories. It's like cool stuff. But I think that's where it was. It kind of became, eh, just meeting professionals, meeting the artists, the writers, etc., and having that opportunity to just build friendship. You know,
Mm.
and sometimes it was as simple as, "Hey, would you watch tables for a minute, or while I run to the bathroom?" So it
Ah,
was
now.
beyond Forrest J. And then, of course, I would hold out that backing board and go, "Yes, I will, but you owe me. I need a sketch."
So did you have, I mean, were you really only collecting sketches early on? Or did you buy
Early on,
published work or was it?
pretty much so. It
Yeah.
was just a sketch here and there. Nothing. I never really went crazy with it. For the most part, I always found myself in in this position to where I was like, I got one from this artist. I don't want to bother him again for another. Because I'm putting him to work. You know, I know what it's like to have to, because I'm going to these shows. They're working. I'm on vacation. I'm having a blast on it. They're behind the table working. I don't want to put them to work. Well, of course, eventually it's work is money. So please spend money with me. I mean, it's okay. You know, but I still I live by that to this day. Which is like, I'm not gonna bother somebody for another piece of art. I was like with Adam Hughes with Adam. I was just driving up from Florida. I stopped and spent an evening Adam and I went out to dinner with my wife, and we had an old cigar on the back of his house, and we're like, and it's I remember years ago I was doing the same thing, and I was like, "Yeah, Adam, you remember about 10 years ago? I said I just wanted one more piece from you, and it was Elvira, because it's so in your wheelhouse." And he goes, "Yeah, I remember." "And do you remember?" I said, "Please, if anyone asks, you have to tell them you can't do it, because it's got to be Randy first. He's got to be the first." And he goes, "No one ever asked." I was like, that's not the answer I was looking for. I was looking for, like, are you ready now? And it's funny. 2 weeks later, I get this text, and it's like a cleavage shot. That's all it is just the crack of the cleavage. And he's like, "How's this looking?" I was like, "Pretty spot on."
You got him right.
Yeah. And then when I picked it up, I was just like, blown away.
Your pal Mike Rice says you got him on so many great sketch lists.
Oh, Mike Rice, Mike, what's up? Right, nice. Cheers.
Yep, that's I'm sticking to Coke right now. I usually have the other beverages after the show's over, but you are more than welcome.
Oh, okay, good. You're talking about the pop, the soda.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
Just want to confirm, because I started this off on the wrong foot.
No, that's fine. So, but yeah, I mean, I remember seeing you at Adam's booth a lot, and a few other guys all regularly. I mean, that's cool. I mean, it was nice seeing, that's the best thing about shows, is just you can get familiar with these people you idolize, right? And get to hang out with them, get to know them better. And, I think that's one of the best parts of our hobby. People who collect comics or other pieces of fandom or whatnot don't usually get to have these kinds of experiences with the creators whom they know and who they appreciate for their work, and then you get to actually know them as persons, and it really just, the connection you have with them and their art and the art you collect, it just makes our hobby so special, many rungs above any other hobby that's out there, in my opinion.
I really do consider myself blessed. It's just you hear that from the athletes all the time. When they're talking about their talents and so on, and all that, and winning, and I'm just like, yeah, it really is. It's something else, and they tolerate me. So I guess that's good.
Well, yeah. I can't imagine tolerate's the word. I mean, if
no, you're right. My wife tolerates me. I think that's been her nickname. I think it was Adam's wife, Allison, is the one that gave me the name Drunken Randy years and years ago, right? And she calls her Tolerant Patty. So so that's a fit. But going on that, it's funny because getting that name, Dragon Con. I'm walking in Dragon, and I haven't been to Dragon Con in years, but I'm walking down the hall, and I see this kid and his mom, and the kid looks up at his mom and goes, "Mom, is that Drunken Randy?" And I do one of these numbers. I'm like, okay, where did that come from? And then later on, I heard something that there was like a "Where's Waldo" kind of thing. That was how else would some kid who I have no idea who it is, and his mom, but I have no proof, no photos, nothing that would indicate that actually existed. Something like that was going on, to this day. It was like, okay, but that was probably,
well. So you achieved celebrity status long before you even knew it, and
infamy.
Infamy. All right, celebrity status. No, well, that's cool, man. That was again, it's back to why that's how I got to know you and who you were, was just because of the fact that you were around all these artists that I liked to see or to try to get on their sketch list. So yeah, and it was like I'm sure you got into, it got you access to things and, sketch lists or whatever that, whether not because you wanted it, but it was just that, what a cool, unique opportunity to kind of be in that position.
Yeah.
You know,
and that was, and I think part of it too is why we clicked, a lot of my friends, and I, because I was like in that spot where I was like, yeah, no, I really don't want any art, or really, if there is something, if he's got a portfolio that maybe I'll go through, I might take a look, see if there's something that jumps out at me or whatever. But most times, no, I'm not going to ask you to draw. It's like, I just want to hang out, whatever. It's so funny. I remember Eric Powell sometimes was like, I hand him a Goon comic, and he's like, why do you want me to sign? Why do you want me to sign? We're friends. I go, I won't get half of it what I get on eBay if you don't sign it. So come on. I mean, like, geez, think about it. But yeah, like I said, I think it's just, most of the time, it's just about, chilling, just about hanging out, the camaraderie. And that's really what it turned, probably maybe even the last 10, well, maybe 10 years or so, but it's kind of more about just hanging out and getting the opportunity to hang out with friends and whatnot. And art. I can still look at stuff.
Well, yeah, you got to see everything, even if you weren't a buyer. Kazra says that you were the East Coast Sketchhound party animal. Sean Fritchie tried but fell way short of Randy.
Oh, and I remember Sean and his bird. And it was like, just I love it when I see names just like go back. I remember I went and visited Stephen Lee, and Stephen and I were both kind of known as the Wonder Woman fiends. We both had Wonder Woman sketchbooks and Wonder Woman commissions, and I hadn't seen him in years. So it was cool to catch up with him in your neck of the woods, or maybe south, but
yeah, I haven't seen Steven in a long time.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that's true. I forgot about that.
That's and funny, and that kind of makes me think of how I got into that, like post backing board stuff and all that. I remember I was at Baltimore Comic Con, and 99, we're right around the turn of the century. And doesn't it make it sound like really old? Right around the turn of the century. And standing in line, and this guy looks back at me and goes, "So what are you getting?" I go, "I think I'm going with Wonder Woman." He's like, "That's a good idea." It was Frank Cho's line.
Yeah.
And Frank draws Wonder Woman for him. He draws Wonder Woman for me. The guy in front of me went and flipped his Wonder Woman like immediately. And Frank's like, "I'm done drawing females. That's it." And for a good number of years, he didn't draw females. So it's like, this guy, one guy ruined it for everybody. But Frank's back to doing everything, whatever.
That's true. And Rich Danny's mentions that Joel Thingval,
yeah,
the Wonder Woman King. Yeah, he was. Yes. When CAF started, I remember, to me, I think he was one of the first people who had a themed collection that you could tell, that because he was posting so much to CAF. And I should say, Randy is one of the original 150 people to join CAF. I think you're like 130 or something like that. It's in the link in the show description. If anybody clicks over to it, you'll see it. It's under 150, so that's early. Wow. That's in the first few months that CAF was in existence.
What's membership now? I mean, what's
it's in the 170,000. So yeah, you're very early.
Wow.
An early adopter.
That's it, the early adopter. That's a corporate term. I'll never forget. I'm not a laggard. I'm an early adopter.
Ben DeFeo's giving you a hard time. Ben says, "Baseball's on, Randy. Why do you hate America?"
What is So, who is a Ben DeFeo? I don't know what's that.
Guys
He
just said
has a
you're number
he's
128.
got a
There you
pretty
go.
cool Adam Hughes Wonder Woman piece in his house.
Oh
He's got
yeah.
a couple of them, but uh, I was thinking going back to Joel Thingvall, and I was thinking he had a Dave Stevens Wonder Woman that I loved. It's a,
I think I remember that piece
yes, yeah,
too.
and I think it was a blue pencil sketch,
Hmm.
if I remember.
That's the one. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was just one of those ones. My grail, which I'll never have, I know though, is Elvira's House of Mystery number 11, the Dave Stevens cover. She's on a broomstick. Elvira on a
Hmm.
broomstick.
I know the one.
Yeah, it was up. It was up for auction. It was on HA, and It didn't even hit reserve, and it was already like I went, nope, nope. It's a dream. It's a dream. It's a house. Can't do it. Yeah. But yeah, no longer Wonder Woman.
Well, Jim Clancy's complimenting Ben for being the first one to harass you.
I have a feeling it's probably going to flood tonight.
At some point.
Okay, kids, time to go to bed. Okay, here we go. This actually is late for me. I'm usually in bed about 9 o'clock.
Early to bed. So Jeff Moy actually mentioned that he had gotten a few pieces from Joel's collection, so that's cool.
Wow.
Joel had a pretty decent. I mean, he got around early. He had a lot of great Wonder Woman pieces in his CAF gallery.
Yep, he was the guy, and I think we just kind of it's funny because the inspiration wasn't it wasn't Wonder Woman was my thought was when I got it was I said 20 years out. And I had the conversation with Jim Lee. And I told Jim, he's like, why Wonder Woman? I said, well, because because you say Batman, it's definitely more popular, when I said, yeah, I said, but I said there's a whole lot of males in the in the original art collecting world, and I said, when I do decide to start selling some pieces, about maybe 20 years from now or so, uh, I have a feeling that I might get a better return. And when the Wonder Woman movie hit, and it was a huge hit, I went, well, time is probably right. That was 17 years after, right?
Yeah.
So it did. I didn't quite make that 20-year mark, and I started selling a lot of the art. And I did end up getting rid of most of it before the second Wonder Woman movie, which wasn't quite as successful. So
Right.
maybe it was the way to do it.
Hey, Eric Kennedy says hello, Randy. So
Well,
nice to have you in here, Eric.
hello, Eric. How you doing? Eric, he draws pretty.
He does. I love Eric's work. We feature his work quite regularly on the CAF update when we're talking about popular collected artworks that we see added to CAF every week. So nice to have Eric in the chat tonight.
And with some of Jason's guys, Eric and Mateo, all those guys, I love those guys. They're such good people. They're really good.
So did before we start even looking at art, we can talk a little bit about what you're working on now. I mean, did all of this your time behind the table and hanging out with artists kind of lend itself to wanting to be a part of what's going on in Boston soon?
Well, what happened there was when it's around 2007. There was a little show in the Boston Back Bay, and they called it Boston Comic Con. And the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first guest was Jim Steranko. The second guest was Carmen Infantino, and the third guest was Bernie Wrightson. And I brought Bernie into the show because Bernie was a friend. And that's kind of how it started, with me working with the former Boston Comic Con team. And they were like, who else do you know? I was like, well, a few people. I could reach out to them, I guess, and Yeah, and the beauty was that they'd say, for you, yeah, and I'm just like, thank you. And they'd come and hopefully had a good time. Most part they did, it's Boston lobster and whatever.
Hmm.
It's 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 a destination spot, which is great. And that's kind of how I got into it. It was really just working as a guest coordinator. You know,
Hmm.
I think I used the word liaison because it sounded
It does
very
sound better.
French. Yes, very French. Yeah. When it sounds French, it's much better.
Yeah, when you're a coordinator, yeah, you might as well be a glorified intern or something, right? So
Well,
yeah,
well, there you go. Speaking of art by Stéphane Roux, I'm still not getting used to that camera. Where is that?
is
But
that this year's
that
staff
was
bit?
no, that was 2015. That was back when the show was called Boston Comic Con. And then so I worked with them pretty much gratis pro bono, however you want to, like, for a couple years,
Hmm.
and then they began to give me a couple bucks, and here you go. Here's $3, and enjoy yourself,
I hope your rooms were cupped at least.
but it, before I know it, I think it was like 2016 or so rolled around. We had one of the best guest lists we'd ever put together, from Sam Keith. And I did. I'll just go blank now, but it was a great guest list, and it was our 10th anniversary, and I had told the co-owners. I said, if you're thinking about selling, now would be the time, because you got 10th anniversary coming up. We've got the best guest list, and it happened. I put him in touch with someone that was very interested, and the rest is history. It's now Fan Expo Boston.
Right.
It's a great show. It's in August, and what I didn't mention was we were an April show for the first several years, up until actually 2013. So in 2013, there's a whole lot of people who are probably familiar with the Boston bombing, Boston Marathon bombing,
Hmm.
and we had to cancel the show the day of.
I
We
remember
already
that.
had people. We had people in the air. We already had people, in town, and well, it wasn't a case where the show must go on. It did, but we pushed it out to August. And so we did postpone it. But it's so funny because this guy, and I told you I love horror. This guy, uh, if
Yeah,
you're if
you
you're
can't
if
go wrong
you're
with stout.
if you yeah, and if you're familiar with Tarman, yes. Um, Bill told me, he said, he goes, and I think that you guys invented the pop up because your actions, because they were hunting. The bombing had happened. They were hunting down the suspect. They found him that night in a boat, but we were done. So we're sitting in bars, and that's what Bill had drawn that in the bar. We were having drinks, and it's one of the pieces I cherish. It's like that's not going anywhere.
You just
And
happen to have a backing board with you, or did you?
yeah, it's actually
All right. Back
um, but yeah, he's telling us stories about Ben, my Benny, my son-in-law. He got a sketch of the gal from the movie. I'm going
Thank you,
blank
Nick.
on what her name was, but it was like, yeah, he's just telling us all about Return of the Living Dead and working on the set and all the stuff that was going on. And but yeah, when I saw him in San Diego this year, that was something he mentioned. Was he's like, and I had invited him out. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make this year's show,
Hmm.
which is no longer is Boston Comic Con. It's now Wicked Comic Con. But I'll get back to that. Um, but you know, pop up. I'm like, wow, what if we had coined that? You know,
Hmm.
back then, maybe you think we'd have some money. You know, the pop. Did we create the pop up? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, we sent artists out to stores to do store signings and just, you know, just try to save it for the fans, really, because it was like, you know, well, there's no one single spot where it was going to happen. You know, how can we make it to where, you know, we can still make this April show happen? Well, it happened in a bunch of different stores and so on. You know, kind of like
Hmm.
little mini shows, mini pop-ups, if you
That's
will.
awesome. You got to, you know, make the most of that situation. I
Yeah.
remember, you know, well, because I mean, Colin was always going to those shows too, of course, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I was always kind of kept abreast of what was going on, and just with the announcements and stuff. So yeah, that was a rough time, but you
Yeah.
made the most of that
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, and Colin's one of the originals. You know, he worked with us then, and you know, so the show was sold, like I said, I think 2016 to Fan Expo, and there was a few years of a non-compete in place, so contract sort of
Right.
NGO. We could not compete, and the one of the co-founders, one of them, dude, was like, you know, lightning doesn't strike twice. I'm happy with where I'm at. But the other co-founder said, you know, see an opportunity, you know, to come back in April, back to our original date, and bring something special. So we did like a 1 day test the water
Hmm.
at the Westin down in Boston, and Wicked Comic Con started off like just, you know, single day, you know, just you know, a few short hours, and we doubled capacity. Boston people, they they smelled a Boston show was back in town, yeah, and so we said, well, you know, this looked good. Little did I know that that co-founder had already scheduled the following year 2 days. So yeah, it was test the water and then really test it.
And dive
uh,
in.
April 22nd and 23rd, Wicked Comic Con at the Heinz Convention Center is going to be pretty damn wicked. You know, I can't I can't even put it into words as to how psyched I am about it. The guest list is off the hook, from Adam Hughes, Chris Pachalo, Ed McGuinness. And like I said, I'll get lost in names because it's the go to www.wickedcomiccon.com, click on guests, and take a peek. You'll want to come because it's not only all the artists where you can get art, but there's art dealers. Albert Moy is coming. You've got yeah, several good, essential sequential. You know, Jason Schachter. Um, Gosh, I'm going blank on some, but there's nostalgic investments. You know,
Right. So
Bashar's.
Bashar is going to be there, right?
Yeah, there's I wanted to say yeah, I'm just blanking out, but it's on the list of vendors and all that, you know. So there's just an opportunity for original art is off the hook, no doubt, from the artists to the art dealers that are going to be there.
Yeah. Well, that's why they
Spencer,
hired you,
Spencer
right?
Beck. That's what I didn't say. Spencer's actually made the show too. You
Oh,
know,
well,
just
that's
like
nice. Usually only gets out to what, Heroes or
you know,
Indoor,
usually Terrificon. I think
Terrificon too.
to
Yeah, I've never been to that one.
yeah, but yeah, you know, so it there it's
Well,
going to
Quan
be
Chang will
cool.
be there, I imagine.
Yes, Quan. Yeah, yeah, Quan. Absolutely. Yeah, And I guess, if these guys got onto CAF tonight and all that, and promoted it, and then we probably know. And I wouldn't be like stuttering over my lips trying to figure out because I'm not prepared enough to have it all written down. And,
Well,
very ad libby, Bill. Very ad libby.
Well, we have actually a giveaway for everybody tonight too. We didn't promote it in any way, but for those of you that are here, I can let you know before I turn it on. So don't try to enter yet. Just we'll tell you what it is. It is a free VIP ticket to Wicked Comic Con, and Wicked Comic Con. I actually have an image here. I can just show it. So it's the weekend of April 22nd and 23rd at the Heinz Convention Center in Boston, Beantown. And the VIP ticket, Randy, what did we decide before we went live?
Yeah, so it's a weekend pass. If you want to do the weekend, or if you just want to do Saturday, or if you just want to do Sunday, it's up to the winner. We'll put you on our VIP list. All you have to do is just come to the box office, come on up, say, hey, my name is yada yada, and whatever you decide, the flexibility is here because I'm just making the call now. So it's okay. I was talking to Bill earlier, and he said, "Is it 1 day or is it 2 days?" I go, well, I didn't get the feedback, so I guess
I didn't get the memo either.
It's going to be whatever that winner wants. Do 1 day, Saturday, Sunday, or both days if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, let me correct Jim Clancy over there. Where is it? Here, Jim, just you got to put
Jim Clancy does not count.
He's trying though. Exclamation point enter. That's one word. You got to have that exclamation point in there to get you into the running.
You got to.
I just want to help you out so you don't feel left out.
You need to answer the question in the form of it.
Oh, he doesn't have his glasses on. He says that's why he couldn't. He didn't see the exclamation.
What is Wicked Comic Con? Okay, that's it. Okay,
there now he's properly entered in there. But yeah, if you can make it out, this is a good opportunity. You're welcome, Jim. And Mike Rice. All your friends are getting in this thing tonight.
That's it. Jim Clancy, old man. See that? That's Ben's.
But I saw that as far as the show goes, you guys did have a, and I probably should I can't remember where. I'm trying to look on the site now. But you kind of highlighted the dealers that were coming out. So you were really trying to hype the art side of things. And of course, most shows today don't. Most artist alleys are shrinking at cons anymore. There's less because cons don't make a whole lot of money on artist tables, right? When they're comping tables and things like that, it's easier to sell a booth to Netflix or a booth to comic book dealers than it is to give a small table space away. And so, but yours your show clearly like a few others that are out there are artists. At least keep the artists as prevalent as all the other exhibitors out there. And you even were like I said, I think you're designating an area for the art dealers specifically, which is fantastic.
Well, when you think about it, it's like a comic book show or a comic show isn't that unless you do have comics there, and we've got a boatload of great vendors, great comic book dealers. They'll be having a good time, just like, and a lot of times because I still buy and sell comics, and it's like, hey, I'll load my inventory up for a specific show. I'll make sure that there are back issues of the artists that are there, so it's like, I'm hustling those books out, take them, get them signed, take them on over to whomever, right? So we've got a great number of comic book vendors, but art wise, it's crazy because I mentioned just a few artists, and like I said, the list goes on, and it's deep. We invested a lot. We don't expect I won't get into the private end of the business. It says, but let's just put it this way. You can see the color of Tarman's tongue. I'll tell you, it's gonna be pretty deep. But But again, we need to make a splash. And the good news is that if we can get people through the door, that if you build it, they will come, and that's what we're hoping for. Yeah, it'd be great if we could double capacity at the Heinz Convention Center. That would be fantastic. But it's there's so much opportunity for art, and it goes beyond the pros that everybody knows, because our artist alley is hundreds deep. I mean, it's like there is so much opportunity to to just get that sketchbook filled out. So that's what the cool thing of having the 2-day is, that if you do get on X amount of lists, and it, Bill, this is as well as I do, that
Yes.
it's like sometimes you're not going to get it in day one, and
Exactly.
and
No, I know.
It's here
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, I can pick it up tomorrow. It's like, thank goodness.
Right. 1-day shows are tough because
Yeah.
as an artist, you probably are less likely to take on too many commission opportunities, convention sketch opportunities, and yeah, no, I know you got to be there early, get in line, right at the crack of dawn to get in first to be able to get on a list, because you don't have a chance otherwise. But yeah, 2-day shows are where it's at.
Yeah, I remember those days of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and going and getting into a line.
Yeah, but when you got there, Tanagashi was always there, right?
Yeah,
Tanagashi was always in front, right?
Yeah, it was like, and then it was I think it was before the days of please don't run, walk. I just get so used to that announcement in San Diego now. It's just like, walk, do not run. I'm going to the Hasbro booth.
See, fortunately, I never got into the exclusives and stuff, so I never. But I love just being in. I always helped out Mark Hay at Splash Page at San Diego, and so I would just stand there and just watch the crowd running in, and you knew where they were going. They're always going to the toy places and to pick up those exclusive Star Wars whatevers, and
the best people.
More power to them.
Bill, it's the best people watching, and it's like, I got to that. I think I remember that I stopped even looking for exclusives one time when I saw two guys basically drop gloves and ready to just strangle each other over it, and I just like, and I got out of the line. I went, this is so not worth it, and I was like, I'm done. I didn't need the GI Joe that bad, It's like whatever it was, I don't even recall, but it wasn't art. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Rick Welch says he got up early to get into many a Linsner sketch list. So
yeah. Joe did an awesome Elvira for me, several years ago. And he was almost, I swear, he was almost to tears, because he was like, this is the first time anyone's ever asked me to draw it. Through all these years, and knowing what Joe does. And it's like, and he's just like, I had so much fun, and I think that's a part of it that really kind of got me going with that stuff, was because with Elvira, it's like, it was something different, she's a cool character. You should read her book. It's a good
and I assume you've met her.
Yeah, I were that 2015 show. As a matter of fact, the one I had the badge there. I was her liaison, her private liaison. So I walked. The coolest thing, I guess you can cross it off the bucket list, was she was on my arm in the Elvira dress.
Did you get a picture?
I got a few pictures.
Okay, good. You better.
Yeah. One of them was with the whole family, and my grandson was still barely, not even a toddler, and he was like 5. So yeah, I guess he was, and he's basically just kind of like looking like right at the cleavage, and I'm like going, yeah, I guess this is what little tiny tot does,
Yeah, there you go.
Lunch.
Oh boy.
What can I say?
Yeah, you didn't supply that photo for us.
No. Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it was a nice little family photo, and but she was so good So nice.
I've seen
We
plenty of interviews with her. I mean, she's very friendly, very, seems
oh
very
so
approachable. Yep.
super approachable. We had conversations about, because I moderated her panel, and we had conversations about what we were going to talk about, whatnot, and then just kind of just went off on tangents, just chatting away. Never forget it. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell everybody, we'll give you a couple more minutes and then we'll draw the lucky winner of this. So, because we got over 40 people watching, but I think we only have about, how many people have entered this thing? 16. So almost half of you. You just got to type !enter and in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and you'll be entered into this thing. So you got a minute and 45 seconds now. So, one memorable con experience that isn't related to artists. So you got that one. You got another one other than Forrest Ackerman keeping his chair warm when he went to the bathroom?
For memorable con moments.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, there's just so many. I think really one of them was like going out to because San Diego, it's like I know it's turned into such a huge media fest, but the opportunities of running into so many people, and maybe not as much today. It does seem like a lot of the artists kind of like they're just like, it's just so crazy, and I can get more work done at home, all that. But sometimes the opportunity is there, and they need to be out there for business wise. Ron Garney needs to be out there because Keanu's out there, and they're berserkers, their book, and that kind of thing. And but I just remember one year like getting on. Met a guy from Entertainment. He worked for Entertainment Weekly, and became a pretty good friend. And was in a line for this party, and so the stanchion is out there, the rope, and he's like, "Oh yeah, hey!" It's when somebody working the door says, "Oh, Mr. House, yes, come on in," lifts it up and goes click right in front of Terry Crews. And I look back at Terry Crews and his wife, because it was for the Expendables at the time, right?
Right.
And I just like going, yeah, he's actually somebody. Yeah, I did that with who is? Do you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Hank.
3 times I've watched it.
Remember Hank, the
Oh, yeah.
brother-in-law, right?
Uh-huh.
Another party I was going to, and it was like, and I literally didn't get into that party, by the way. I gotta go ahead and throw it out there now. All right. But Hank did, because I'm like going, he actually is someone. He's on Breaking Bad. You probably want to come on in then. But that kind of stuff is cool. Again, not art related, but again, when you're talking about just the overall experience and just unique things, happening, unique opportunities popping up. Going to a party as Robert Rodriguez's guest. Ben DeFeo,
Cool.
if he's still on, can actually say, "Yep, it happened."
Ben's still out there. He wants you to tell the Michael Jordan at Heroes story.
Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I guess that's another memorable one, right? So, yeah. So, Michael Jordan, part owner, Charlotte Hornets, and I saw this really nice sports car out front. I can't remember what it was, whether it was Ferrari or Lamborghini or something. And I look over at Jim Clancy. I go, I think Michael Jordan's here. I think he's at the bar. Could you go in and see if Mike might want to sign something? So recon Jim Clancy goes in and meets Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan says, "No, man, but I'll shake your hand." Shook his hand. Jim comes out, tells me, "So yeah," he said, "He it's over to shake my hand." I walk in. Jim had already done the work for me. I go, "What? Hey, Mike, just wanted to shake your hand." He's like, "Hey, man." I go, "Yeah, we met in L.A. because I was doing the LA Auto Show. I worked with Bose for 20 some odd years as a corporate trainer, and I was working the LA Auto Show. So we went to Lakers game, and I had to go to the bathroom. And I run, and they hold me off. They're like, "No, stop! You can't go into this bathroom." I'm like, "Hey, but I gotta go." And next thing I know, maybe a minute later, door opens up. Michael Jordan comes walking out, literally just walks right into me. I look up, and I'm like, "Hey, Mike," and he's like, "Hey, man." And he goes, so when I got to him in Charlotte, I was like, "Yeah, we met. We met at the Staples Center." He goes, "Oh, you from LA?" I was like, "No, man, I'm from Detroit." And I just want to say, thanks for all those years of hell. He's like, "Well, you guys started it." Detroit Pistons, before the Bulls became the dynasty that they did, you know. So yeah, stuff like that. And then I asked Mike. I said, "Could you draw for me? Would you mind if you doing a sketch?" And he wouldn't do it.
No, you had a backing board with you, but he turned you down.
Yeah, I was like really disappointed. Original Mike, draw a shoe, man. Draw some hairs, just some hairs. Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon will do it.
Right.
So I'm plugging Hollywood more than
You are definitely doing that now.
Yeah,
well, hey, let's draw the winner of this, and then we can start looking at some artwork here. So I think we have 17 people who have submitted. So I'll just go ahead and pick the winner right now. And it has gone over to, is it going to announce it in the chat? TAMD1. There we go. So Tariq has won the ticket giveaway. So Tariq, you need to, I think you're going to end up emailing Colin, I believe. And, but we're to give him your name or Randy, if you like. But Colin's probably.
Randy said Saturday, Sunday, or a weekend, whatever. Does Tariq know what he wants to do?
Well, you guys can work that out. So yeah, you'll email. I'd say go ahead and email Colin, and that he'll be the one to set you up. And let's see, what does he use? He uses prwickedcc@gmail.com. But I mean, Tariq, if you want to just email me, I'll put you in touch with Colin, and he'll get you set up with that.
Right on.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's funny. I saw that Jim Clancy had said something about any story with Darwin, and to me, it's I get kind of verklempt, when I tell the Darwin story. So that's why I was like kind of holding back, Jim, because I'd love to tell something.
Yeah, well, we're gonna run it. We're gonna be looking at some Darwin art here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I told you I forgot what I sent you. So.
Yeah. So all right, well, I get the giveaway message out of here. Let's get that out of the way. Now we're back to your @drunk. Now is that your Twitter handle?
I think it is, unless I changed it. I don't know. I think it might be. It's what it used to be, but I just kind of like that double entendre there.
I get it. All right, so
we're Randy,
so we're actually going to go back a little bit. We kind of, because you did give things to me in sort of a chronological order. We've sort of talked about some stuff. I mean, you talked about the backing board.
Yeah, we've been talking backing boards, and what's cooler than a backing board?
Exactly. I'll be honest. I've never gotten a piece of art drawn on a backing board because I think when I had comics, I wasn't collecting art. So by the time after I was collecting art, I just never had a backing board with me. So I started buying sketchbooks to take with me.
And I'll tell you what really makes, and I always say that art should have a story, and many times it does, right? Mm-hmm. And Steve and Garth came walking in at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I was just coming out to get some coffee or something. I remember, and I remember them coming in, and they had a very late night. But that was like San Diego, 1997. And Steve is definitely missed. What a talent,
Now, is this one of those times where you just brought in the board and said?
Yeah, well, I mean, I loved Preacher. I mean, it was like there's not a whole lot of comic series that I read all the way through. Preacher was one of them. Sandman was another. But it was just like. And I dug Cassidy. I like the vampire was cool, and he liked to drink, so it was all right.
That is true. And were they sitting together? I mean, is that how you were able to get them both to sign it? Did you hunt down Garth later?
Yeah, no, I don't know if I don't remember. I don't think they were sitting together. I think that I caught. They might have been. They might have been. But that was 1997. And Bill, I swear, I do not remember. All I remember was them coming in very early in the morning, and hey, hey. I'm like, oh, we had a good night, didn't we?
Yeah, they got
Good
it.
times.
Well, as long as they were on time the next morning, it doesn't
Well,
matter.
exactly. And I didn't even really, put that into that kind of perspective. This is like, yeah, I wonder what time they got to the show that day.
Well, let's see. This next piece is one that I don't know if we've ever even really talked about his artwork on our CAF update, because there just isn't a lot of art. Well, there's not a lot of published artwork out there.
No, here's Jeff Smith, and I remember I think they had a really cool, because I mean indies were relatively rare back then,
Sure.
And Jeff Smith, what a sweetheart, just super super nice guy, and uh, to have that, it's just one of those ones I look at and I go, yeah, just look how happy that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, we went to the Billy Ireland Museum last August, and there's a lot of bone art. I mean, I think he, gave a lot of the published work there. I mean, it was just amazing to see so much of it, having not seen any of it, leading up to that.
right, yeah, and I think he has all of it, does he not?
Well, I think he has. I think he
The
has.
majority of
A
it.
lot of it, but
Oh,
well, I'm assuming gave, because it's at the museum, and
yeah.
and that's just like all of the Calvin and Hobbes art, or the majority of the Calvin and Hobbes art from Watterson was donated there as well. But there was a lot of bone art there, which was just amazing to see, because I mean, you never see that stuff at all.
Right,
I've seen a lot
right.
of sketches, well, not even a lot, but published work is just rare. And that's why I don't think we've ever really talked about Smith too often.
Backing boards, Bill, even more
Backing
rare.
boards.
Even more rare.
Yes, exactly.
Uh,
Let's see what else. Here was this isn't on a backing board, though, or is it a backing board?
right. Yeah, no, it's not. It was a promo for the last issue of Long Halloween. And
Ah,
there's a and there's another dearly missed friend. We lost him last year, which is tough. Um, but what I recall from this though was Jeff Loeb telling me, "I'm not an artist."
but you asked him to draw something anyway.
Yeah, I asked him to draw something. It's like I really didn't ask Michael Jordan to draw anything, but I did ask Jeff Loeb to draw a pumpkin, and he
Well,
did.
it didn't do too bad.
Yeah, he did. And
You
there's
know it's
actually
a
a bat.
pumpkin when
He's
you're
got a
looking at
bat
it.
mouth. It's a bat mouth too.
Like,
So that's pretty cool. As a matter of fact, Jeff will be at Wicked Comic Con.
oh, sweet.
Throw that out. Another one of our special guests.
Well, that is very nice too.
What I
Now,
thought was cool about it was the fact that it's promoting. Obviously, it's 1997, and it's promoting that last issue of Long Halloween, which was such a great series. But, I mean, that's one of those ones. Yes, I actually had my problem is that I'm like squirrel, and I just go in all different directions. But having that reminds me of hey, you read all 13 issues of that book. Yeah,
so
you got these 13 issues.
Jim makes us wonder what your Halloween parties were like.
Oh, geez, yeah. There was a few good ones. That was always that's Halloween's my babe. It's
Mhm.
like that's my mistress. I love Halloween. As a matter of fact, when I started doing my own show, I did a little one day in southern New Hampshire.
Oh, I forgot
Nashville.
about that. I remember,
Yeah,
yeah, you would send me the
yeah,
PR for those.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. The comic bash.
Oh, that's right.
The
Yeah,
comic bash. Yeah,
forgot all
and
about
look,
those.
there's the original art that my buddy Rich Woodall. Uh,
Very nice.
go to find Rich Woodall out there. I think he's taking commissions. Rich is such a super guy. But yeah, and it culminated with a Halloween party after
Hmm.
after the show. So it was like comic book show by day, Halloween party by night. It
Man.
was fun. And then they tore my hotel down. And here's the irony. They 2 days after I got the notification that they had sold the hotel, and I couldn't go to another venue because everything was 2 to 3 times higher.
Right.
I was like, I couldn't turn that onto my dealers, so their $50 table now is $100 or $150 table. I couldn't do that.
Hmm.
So I get a call from the gal I'm working with at the hotel. She says, "Yeah, it's nice working with you." I'm like, "Oh, you leaving?" He goes, "Yeah, you can say that. They sold the hotel, and they're gonna tear it down. And it's gonna be a Porsche dealer." So not only did I lose my show, but they put a car dealership in out that I'll never be able to afford. But
That's
two
criminal.
days, 2 days after I talked to her, and I found out I was never going to have another show there, I got a call from the original co-owners from Boston Comic Con, who said we're putting the band back together again.
So the timing actually worked out. You
Yeah.
didn't have to like say I'm closing a show. It got closed on you, and you
No,
just kind of fell
no,
right.
no. I think he actually owns the Porsche dealership, maybe, and that's why he wanted me back. So he had the hotel. I was talking to him today. That's what I told him. I go, "You did. I'm a conspiracy theorist guy." But yeah. So yeah, it's that kind of
Well, so
worked
you
out.
were the shows were in your blood. I mean, that's why.
Yeah,
And I kind of remember that. I remember you talking about the wanting to do your own show to kind of keep it going when
yeah,
because you weren't
yeah.
in a non-compete or
Yeah,
anything. You could kind
and
of
you
do whatever you
see,
wanted.
you see the ins and outs.
Yeah.
You work with these guys, and you know how they want to be treated, and and it's like you're a fan, uh, fan first, right? And you know how what the fan experience should be like, and yeah, vendors and selling comics and so on, how they
Hmm.
want to be treated. It's
Well,
it's
yeah.
cool.
Ben switched over to the cool place. He's hanging out. He's over here on YouTube
Yeah,
now.
Jimmy Palmiotti wrote a story about the hotel, and it had something to do with spiders. And it kind of starts out that hotel's got spiders. If you, yeah, it did need some renovation. Torn down was probably the right call.
Exactly what it needed.
Maybe it was.
There was a reason the tables were only $50 at that show.
Yeah, yeah. I passed the savings on along with whatever was on that carpet. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't ask any questions.
Nope, nope. When the luggage carts have upholstery that looks exactly like the floor,
Yeah.
you're in a classic hotel, my friend.
Yes, that is the telltale tale
Mhm.
sign of a very old facility. Oh man, let's see here. What do we got next? Oh well, we talked about Joseph Melchior in the green room before
Who's that?
we got started. Yeah, who is that guy? Well,
Oh my goodness! Well,
when
it's funny. It's not a backing board. I bought the piece from Joe, but it's like it still makes me think that I like sketches. I still like sketches like that. Now look at the cross hatching and all that, just like nuts. I once when I was putting the Wonder Woman stuff together, I stood in line in San Diego for 8 hours for Brian to put the bookend in my book. Adam was the first sketch in it. Brian was the last sketch in it. And 8 hours. Yep, once. You ever see
and you
Johnny
got it
Dolphin?
though, but you got
Once.
it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I got
That's
it once. Although I did, I think 8 hours for Negan from Walking Dead. My wife,
uh,
maybe my wife wanted to meet him or something. I never again.
well, if the wife wants it, then you got to put the
Yes,
time in.
happy spouse, happy house.
Exactly. But yeah, what we were talking about, Joseph, you're doing well when Joseph shows up at your show. If he's in the
But,
US, if you got a good show when he's there.
well, he got he's my roomie, so he got a free room. So he's lucky. He's like, yeah, I'll go. I get a
Ah,
free room. That's it. Yeah, you can stay with me. But no, it's great. It's great having Joe over there. And then eventually, I'm hoping, maybe we can talk some of his peoples into flying over the pond. But like I said, we got to see how 2023 goes. That's going to be the big talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Please come, please.
I remember the days of when I was co-owner with Big Wow, and it was always so stressful, right?
Such a great show, Bill.
It was. It was. It was a wonderful experience. I mean, Morgan is just a great guy, but Cho was one of the owners.
Yep.
Steve Wyatt.
Yep. Steve Wyatt.
Yeah, and Marquet kind of came in, and then you had people like Tatiana around there, all the helping out as support. Brian Peck. So you had this core group of people who just loved comic book art, and it was such so it made it a great nucleus of a team. But the thing that was so stressful was you'd get 90% of the ticket sales in the last 3 days.
Yes.
And that is the worst feeling ever, because people literally wait till the last second. It doesn't matter how many ways you can tease, provoke, throw specials out there. People still wait till the last 3 days. So you are sweating bullets. Monday, you're still sweating. Tuesday, you're starting to cry. Wednesday, you start to feel a little optimistic that something's might go your way. And then by Thursday and Friday, you're like, okay, thank goodness. Because you have this major investment going on and nothing happens until the very, very end. And it was always so frustrating. I could not stand it because you're thinking, I need to get 20, 30,000 people in here, and we're only at like 4,000 ticket sales, with 3 days to go. And you just don't, but it never failed though. They always bought. But why? I mean, how do people not plan ahead for that? It's like, I'm going to go now. It's a couple of days before. Now I've decided I'm actually going to go. Nothing's going to get in my way.
I only did the show once, and then went to the Vineyard after the show and all that. That was really cool.
Yeah, we're at Travis's wife's place. Yeah,
but I remember that Brian Stelfreeze was sitting close to Bill Sienkiewicz, and I'd asked Bill to do an Elvira piece for me, and just a plain pencil sketch, right? Mm-hmm. And Brian is doing something, and Brian's like one of the masters of color theory, right? Indeed, he's amazing, and Bill just starts going crazy with color and all this, and I don't think I put that piece up, but it's in my CAF gallery. But oh man, just the essence of Elvira, not quite a bus shot, it's. But I kind of thank Brian for Bill going crazy on it, because it just turned out amazing. But I loved that show, Bill. One of it, and that's another reason why I'm going to Italy. As I spent the bucks on that flight, which I was like, how much? It's a lot more than it used to be to go over there.
Exactly. That's why, that's one of the things that keeps me from going. But I mean, I'm sure I'm going to make it 1 year. It's just tough because I know if I go, I would want to spend a couple of weeks at the show, going just vacationing a little bit. And the idea of trying to take 2 weeks off in a row at all is just that I just don't know how I can do it. At least at this point in my life, I don't think I can do it. But
I cannot wait to get on a train and some guy, some art collector named Dave would. I don't know if he'd appreciate this or not, but I just want to get some guy to put his hand on my knee and say, "Mi scusi, mi scusi." If you're a fan of Eurotrip, Dave Mandel directed film. I don't think he's listed as the director, but I guess they drew straws as to whose name would be on the credits. But yeah, I will be on. I think I may be on a train at some point, but. We'll see.
Well, that's a trick because I know you usually fly into Milan, right? And then
Milan MXP.
Yep. And then it's because I know Lake Como's a train ride or at least away from there. So again, it's just you just know it's planning. There's a lot of planning to get to that show, and then
I'm going in blind. I don't know what transportation. Steve was kind enough to say he'll probably hook me up with.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Steve, he has a place over there, and he knows all the ins and outs. So he can hook everyone up.
Super excited about that.
Cool.
Not really going to get any art, just going out to hang out.
Right.
But who knows? You never know. Something might
you might be able to get somebody to do something for you.
Yeah, somebody might sell something.
Bring a pack of backing boards with you for
$350.
Valentine's
How much is that? About $350.
Let's see.
Remember, sketches used to be $50 back in the day.
I do remember when they're not anywhere near that anymore.
No,
but
they're not.
But in Europe, I mean, they always kind of expect the artist to sketch for free, practically.
Yeah. That used to be
That was the
it,
thing. I mean,
right?
and the artist, did it a lot. I mean, I don't know if that's if that's really
I don't
the
think so.
key
I
anymore,
think they're
but
used to getting writing a check now or whatever.
exactly.
Turning their mortgage over to
Well, when you approach an artist's table and there's an ATM machine right beside it, that's probably not the table you want to go to. But it is what it is. I get it. I mean, that's one of the toughest things going to shows anymore is the cost of getting a convention sketch, right? Because before you could go to a show, have like $600 or $700 in your pocket, and you'd probably walk home with a dozen pieces of art. And today, that same amount of money, you might only walk home with 2 or 3 pieces. It's just kind of how it is, and it's okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want the artists to be making money. I mean, if not, they're not going to keep making art, right? So
Right.
it was an amazing period. We didn't know how good we had it when we were collecting in the late 90s and early 2000s, right?
Oh, right on, man. Now, and it's like, and even if it's one piece and it makes you happy, and it's like it's a win. Yeah.
Definitely. So this was like on your number 2 email that you sent me. It was kind of
there we go. So Bernie, I met Bernie in the late 90s, and we just had kicked it off. We had such a great relationship, and I think that might have been maybe around 2003, something like that. So I remember Dan Frago was doing the show, and I've known Dan for a good number of years. And somebody was like, "Are you Bernie's son?" It's like, no, I'm another artist. But we were at a bar, and Bernie, you pulled out the cocktail napkin and the Sharpie, and just started drawing away. And that's actually is a pencil from his studio that Liz Wrightson gave me, which was a sweet gesture. But again, getting verklempt, but losing Bernie was tough. But what's really cool is that sitting next to one of my favorite Wrightson covers, Hulk 197, Hulk and Man Thing duking it out with the Collector in the background. But with the binder that it's sitting on from Bernie Wrightson Fan Club is I had a buddy of mine who has a local comic shop here in New Hampshire, and he's like, "Hey man, I know how much you loved Bernie," and he goes, "I got this fan club binders, complete everything, man. Come by and pick it up. It's yours." I was like, "Wow, how sweet was that?" So yeah, that's kind of why I laid it out that way. Yeah.
The napkin's awesome.
Yeah, and I have another one from Adam from years ago. I had 2 of them actually that will probably never be seen.
I get it.
I think I did share one not safe for work piece that Adam gifted me that you'll be showing soon enough. So
well, that one's kind of tasteful, but I see the backing board around it. You did slip it in a comic bag, the sketch here. At least it looks that way.
Yeah, it is in a comic bag, and then it hasn't turned yellow or anything like that over the years, which is kind of cool, because I think we all know that Sharpie is not the best thing, for art.
Exactly.
Longevity doesn't tend to be there, but it's hanging in there. I should. It's so funny. I remember used with some pencil pieces. Fixative, right? You spray over pencil.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
But I think I called it laxative at first. And if you know Buzz, right?
Of course.
right?
Mhm.
And Buzz is just like, did you just? So at one point, he just draws me this sketch that's like me standing up at his table, like going, "Hey man, are you gonna spray that with laxative?" And the likeness is like spot on. Right? It's like, so that's one of my, and that's why most of the stuff I have is sketches or commissions or whatever, because it's so personal, you
Mhm.
know. And that's the stuff. That's the stuff. You're like, yeah, no, that's those are your keepers.
I've misspoke a few times before. Maybe not quite like that, but yeah, I
I
know
was
how
saying it in jest, though. I really was.
to.
I knew it
All
was
right, all right.
I defend myself.
And as we
Art
roll,
proves me wrong, though. The art proves me wrong.
did you save the laxative drawing though?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
hope that's
I
still.
do. I do
You
have
can't
it.
sell that one.
It's in one of my other binders. I should have brought that up, but I didn't know this would pop up. It is a classic, and it's me because they used to call me the Chicken Man too. Donut.
You got a lot of nicknames, Randy.
Yeah, somehow it turned into I was into chicken art, and then people started drawing me chicken art, and so on. Just like my Benny, my son-in-law, I went back to him and said he started a theme of superheroes in a strip club, and then it just went completely off the pages. And it was all because of Frank Cho, who decides to draw a plastic man in a strip club and a beautiful girl swinging from a pole.
Oh
Well,
boy.
it's plastic, man. I'll leave your
Of
imagination to
course.
run wild.
Oh, Frank. No wonder outrage and Frank go hand in hand.
It's outrage.
Yeah, he
Uh,
he can get it. Well, he starts the trouble and he lets Morgan fix it for him.
yeah, that's it. He's an attorney, so it's all right.
Exactly. He knows the ins and
Hey,
outs.
talk to my art dealer / lawyer. It's okay. It's good.
Well, now we're moving into the Wonder Woman period, I believe,
So
and we've got
yeah,
a Sparaccio piece here.
and I remember one of my buddies, Mike Barrera, was I think it might have been Baltimore. I can't remember when I set that up, but he was getting Supergirl, and because he was a Supergirl guy, and I just loved the work that Mark was doing, and all the airbrush detail and all that, totally amazing. And to this day, I think he still thinks this is one of his best pieces, and he sells the prints. He goes like, "Yeah, still my number one seller as far as prints." And that was several years ago when I had the conversation with him, but yeah, just such a gorgeous piece.
Yeah, no,
It
I
is
agree.
available. It is available, though.
I
It is
uh, I-
available.
I've met Mark a few times. He's a really nice guy. He's very, very talented. Yeah, I like his stuff.
Yeah,
This is a great piece.
absolutely gorgeous.
And let's see, continuing on with the Wonder Woman.
Oh man! So going back to Hollywood, Guillermo del Toro won another Oscar uh, for Pinocchio,
Hmm.
and I I kept this one. I didn't have it up for sale or anything like that. It was just because it was so unique. But it's Gris Grimley, and he had a lot of fun with it. He's just like I grimlified Wonder Woman. Yeah. And but when you look at the animated Pinocchio that's on Netflix, you see his, because he was the character designer, I guess, and one of the co-producers of the movie, and it's just such a cool piece. It's like, and it's I blew it with him because it was before I got into the Elvira scene, because I wish I had a Grimly Elvira, but I do. I have like a little doodle that he did in one of his sketchbooks. So, and then Elvira signed it too, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, really, really groovy piece.
Very, very talented
Yeah.
artists. Yeah, I've seen several pieces of theirs, and yeah, I've always been impressed by
Yeah.
his approach to anatomy and whatnot.
Yeah, I just bought Hocus Pocus. He
Yeah.
did a Hocus Pocus book, and one of my favorite Halloween movies. So like I said, I love horror, but I like the light side too. And Hocus Pocus is a fun family flick. The book is great. The art is fantastic.
Sweet. And then we have, of course,
Well, go back to Joe Melchior.
yeah.
Yeah, Joe did me a solid, and Dave did this piece, and I guess he got into it. He's because Joseph was stunned with the results, and of course I was too. I was like, wow. This, I didn't, sure, I could have asked for Watchmen, I could have asked for Rorschach, or Silk Spectre, or if I wanted to go female, or whatever. But how awesome is that? I mean, it's just
No, it's gorgeous. And I mean, Dave's not really doing a lot of drawing anymore, unfortunately, and so I think he made a wise choice. I mean, because there's a lot of Watchmen related sketches out there, right? But there aren't a whole lot of Wonder Woman pieces out there by him. So once again, you made the right choice. And I mean,
350. What do you think? 350.
Yeah, I think he did all right. If that's
what. No, that's one of those ones I was gifted. Dave gifted that, so it's like another one.
Well, you gave Cheeky Joe a room. Well, probably more often than once.
Cheeky Joe has been my roommate in San Diego for I don't know how many years now, maybe close to 10 years. We've been roomies out there. I'm usually retired early. So Joe's coming in late because he's usually sitting around the campfire with guys like Calvin and Dave and so on, and I can't hang. I might try to do it this time. Maybe like one night, because we're at the Marriott. We're there last year, and we're at the Marriott again this year. And we tried to do one night sitting out late, having a cigar and whatnot, and then they were like, "You can't smoke here. You got to move someone." But we'll figure it out. A lot of fun. Again, and that's all part of the camaraderie, just hanging out and talking, and sometimes talking comics, sometimes talking comic art, sometimes it's talking movies. It's just hanging out and having a good time.
No, that was a good.
But yeah, that's a cool piece. I love it.
I would never let that one go if I were you.
Like I said, 350. Cheers, bro.
Now the next one is that Wonder Woman by Adam Hughes that we were talking about.
Okay, prepare yourself.
With sensitive eyes.
Did you put? Any
I didn't block it. I didn't block anything out.
It is the nipple slip. This was published.
This
was published.
Only Mr. Timberlake isn't in this one. Where'd you go? You just left the room.
I did. Because
I was going to show the art, and then you walked away.
You had to get the book here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the book, which is a book called "Clean Cartoonists, Dirty Drawings."
Oh, wow! So this was published in that, huh?
This was published in that, and it is a. I love there's an original Dean Yeagle.
I love Yeagle's work. Yep.
And it's not on a backing board; it's on paper, something like that. But cool book, and it goes back. You go and you find out that some of your heroes and all that had they had some dirty drawings in the drawer. So they weren't all clean.
No. Well, we'll see here, Jeff. Let's take a look at this Adam Hughes piece right now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and there was a cigar. Yeah. Jeff was right.
So art with a story. So Adam couldn't make it up to New York, and Allison comes up, and Adam and we had this favorite cigar that would come out each year. So they had an annual edition of it, and I get handed this cigar box. This is from Adam, and me, and we're enjoy the cigars. And I was like, oh, sweet. I was excited. I looked at the cigars, and then I looked at the lid, and that was in the lid of the cigar box. And and what's funny, the story there, did you see that the dialogue? Well, hell, he doesn't need all his teeth. At the time, I had when I was a kid. Well, I think I was about 18. I was playing softball and hit my one of my canines on a pole, and over the years, it just died. I thought it was fine. There was just a minor hairline crack, but eventually the tooth just died, came out. So I went about maybe a year before I got an implant. So yeah, I didn't have all my
We were
teeth.
missing a tooth.
So yeah, that's a pretty personal piece, and yeah, the little nipple slip. I mean it happens.
Well, that's a wonderful birthday present.
But like I said, I can't show you the other two.
No, no, got to keep those to close friends.
And
And
they're on cocktail napkins. What can you possibly draw on a cocktail napkin? It's like
well,
teasing a cliffhanger. Someday that's going to surface. When you die, old man, it's going to get.
right, exactly. That's when you can release it. But no, I get it. Wardrobe malfunction, says Rich. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yes, the wardrobe malfunction. Yes, indeed.
Marcus says he'd shave his head and take a tooth out for that.
Then you would look more like me.
You resemble that remark. Well, switching gears here, because that was the Wonder Woman side of things. Let's see here. Over to an Eric
I kind
Powell.
of got into, I've always loved horror, and obviously from Tarman, and
Yeah.
yeah, and Eric Powell. I started reading The Goon as soon as it came out, late 90s, I think 99, 98, 99, something like that. And I dug his art, So over the years, built a really good relationship. And I was working at Bose at the time. I was like, Eric, I said, you need a Bose system? And he's like, yeah, that would be awesome. I go, I got this idea for a piece. I said, you know that Marvel zombie thing that Kirkman's writing? Yeah. What if the Goon and Frankie fought the Marvel zombies? Oh, I like that. And I was like, can you go like 11 by 17? He's like, yeah, done. Within a week or so, he's like texting me. He goes, can I go bigger? I'm like, dude, go bigger, stay home. Fine.
Can I? Yes,
yeah,
please.
Yeah, please do. I think this is somewhere around 24 by, I don't know, but it's a big piece. But yeah, Cap with his half his head there. I used to have one of Phillips' pieces from the original series. I sold it. I was kind of bummed. But yeah, he's pointing at his head like, look, damn, it took half my head off. But yeah, that Powell piece is just absolutely dynamite. And this is Kirkman, if you're out there, write another Marvel zombie story and have Eric do the art. And Eric's like going, I've got enough on my plate. What are you doing? Stuff he's doing now, the true crime stuff, the Ed Gein book. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No, I haven't seen.
Yeah, he's working with Harold. I can't remember his last name, but he's like a true crime author, very well respected true crime author, and he did a book about Ed Gein.
Cool
graphic novel. It's amazing. But yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces.
I don't blame you. He would have been amazing on Marvel Zombies. Loved what Phillips did with it. His style really fit well.
Sean did just a bang up job.
He really did.
Yeah.
I regret, because I worked with Mark Hay all the time, and I remember seeing those pages, and I was like, I'm going to buy one day. I'm going to buy one, and then I never did. No, he doesn't. Does he even have anymore? I don't even know. But I regret not buying them early when I was like getting to see everything as it was getting delivered, practically, to Mark, and I never ever pulled the trigger on any of them. But
well, that's why I'm kind of glad that I never really got into published art, because there's already think I'm, obsessive enough, to where it's like I can only imagine, what I could have got wrapped up in. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay,
But now we're talking. Here's a
well,
published book,
that's published. All right, yeah, one for the road. That's a and I when I was going through his profile, I said, dude, I gotta have this page. And it's so funny if you look, he says to Drunken Randy. As a matter of fact, on his phone, when it comes up Drunken Randy. It's like, there's quite a few of my friends that's what the digits come up, and says Drunken Randy. But it was like Scarolyn Monroe. That's what popped with me. It wasn't the Goon and Frankie at the bar and all that. At Norton's bar. It was Scarolyn Monroe. This hot chick in that big panel. But
No,
but yeah, it's just
I've
like I said,
always
I'm
loved
glad.
Eric's stuff.
I'm just glad, like I said, that like I said, I love horror. This is kind of like on that edge, and it's always so funny because I try to explain the Goon, and hopefully, hopefully because it's been in production hell. It's just like David Fincher was behind it at one point, and now they finally have landed. I think Blur Studios is still working with Eric, but I think it's going to be a Netflix gig. But I hope it happens, because it's hard to explain. But then once you have the story, uh, it's hard to, like I said, you go, well, it's just this thug and zombies and slack jaws and I can't really explain it, but it's kind of noir. But you'd think it was like 1930, but not really. But it's like, well, yeah, okay, let's read it, and then you'll get a good chuckle. And he is such a funny guy. Eric tends to be really quiet, but he is a hoot, and it shows off in his sense of humor shows off in his writing.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity to talk to him. I mean, I've seen him at San Diego a lot, but for whatever reason, I've never ended up hanging out and chatting. I regret that.
Yeah, well, yeah, he'll be there again this year, I'm sure. It's like, but with like I said, with I think the stuff that he's working on that, it's like I haven't seen him at too many shows. There've been a few friends where I just haven't seen him, seen him out there. Whether it's the whole post COVID thing, getting past things and feeling comfortable, going back and doing shows, and but everybody's different, so hopefully we get some of those familiar faces back out there.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's the shows are coming back though. So here we got an Amanda Connor piece.
We're going back to horror and digging on horror hosts. I try to catch Sven Gulli on Saturday nights if I can. Watch some of those schlocky classics. Sometimes they're good classics. But yeah, a lot of folks wouldn't know that Elvira started out young. This is just fantastic. This is from Elvira number 100, issue 100, Claypool Comics, and a gift from Amanda, which was beautiful. She knew what kind of an Elvira fan I was, and she was like, I drew Elvira, right? Like, son of a gun. So of course I get, and like with the published art that I do have, I have the comic as well. So I'll keep it with the art in most cases, and so I had to go track down issue. And believe me, it was a harder issue to find. I was like, where's this issue 100? But yep, and it's only a couple pages of story in it. So very, very blessed to have one of the pages. And she doesn't she doesn't get rid of a whole lot of her original art. I've got a Power Girl page too, which is really really nice.
Well, now that we're in the Elvira side of things, the next piece is that I believe it's the Adam Hughes piece, right? Oh yeah, that's the one he sent you the sliver of.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it was like 10 years in the making, and but yeah, if you stare right at the cleavage, that's the little photo that he sent me. It's just
How am I doing?
yeah.
He
If
started there and worked his way
you
out
have to
to
actually
get.
zoom all the way into the V in her cleavage, and that's what I got. But yeah, I want it's to me it's one of the best pieces Adam has done. I mean, and yeah, I'm biased, but I've had several people tell me that it is super fine, and yeah, that is a wowsy woo woo, something else.
Can I enhance it? No, I can't, Marcus. It's enhanced enough.
Yeah, you know what? When Adam draws the female figure, it's already enhanced.
Yeah, I got a Scarlet Witch by him.
Oh,
That was done, in Copic markers. So, really nicely done, small piece, but it's stunning. When you see
I
him in person, it just blows your mind how much he's just a master of the medium. I mean, no
yeah,
one makes a fluid, I mean, there were other guys like that, but Adam for me was the first who really got, this kind of a smooth style. And it's just, it's like what you would normally expect pinup artists who are using airbrushes to get, but he was doing it all by, all with the Copic markers and everything else. It's just
yeah.
kind of amazing approach to
I
stuff.
remember when you had was it a wizard cover? Something that you had with the
Oh,
two.
don't remind me.
I
Yes,
know. No,
I used
I
to.
mean, yeah.
I
We'll talk about the one that got away.
Yeah,
But I mean,
but yeah, I had the Jean Grey Emma
yeah,
Frost wizard
yeah,
cover.
yeah.
Yes, I did.
That was a nice cover.
It
Definitely.
was.
Well, I mean, I had a couple Wonder Woman covers the go away. I had the one where she was covered in mud, um, and then I had the one where she was flying toward fighter jet.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, both
and,
very memorable covers.
gone, gone. It's, yeah.
Yeah,
And whether it was a daughter's wedding or taxes or whatever it might be, I mean, there's always a reason. But to say you
yeah.
had it is a pretty cool thing.
Well, yeah, I still have photos of it on my wall. So I can shed a tear every time I see those old photographs of my
All
own.
it takes is a photocopy, Bill. I think you know that from what
Yes,
I have.
indeed. But
So,
I'm sure you were thrilled when you got this one. Did he give this to you at a
yes,
show?
yeah, I picked it up at Tommy Lee Edwards show
Oh, sweet.
in Raleigh, and yeah, when I got that, I was just like, oh man,
Well,
I almost lost it, man. I almost cried. So it's
yeah.
like,
And
oh,
Adam's always very modest too, right? He's like, "Do you like it?" I mean, I remember when he gave me mine. I'm like, he said something like that. Do you like it? And he's that it really kind of wanted to make sure I was happy. I'm like, I almost couldn't say yes. I was so shocked at how nice the piece was.
yeah,
So that's the nice
yeah,
thing about him. He's very modest, and
yeah, without
he
a doubt.
wants everybody to really appreciate the work. And he's I get it. I mean, that's cool. But let's see. I forget the next piece. Oh,
Oh my goodness, yeah, and
there's a
that one's
spider.
published. That one's actually published. So Nicky, he put that on issue, I think number 7 of the Elvira series, and Joe just knocked it out of the park. And I was like, don't give me like the 30-year-old Elvira. Let's season her a little bit. So he nailed it, without a doubt. Because she's still beautiful at 71, I think she is, something like that. Man, she is still gorgeous. Yeah, but yeah, she just did a special on Shutter. I think last year it might have been either last year or the year before. But she rarely puts on because I remember she told me, she says it takes 2 hours to do the wig,
Oh,
and it's like, wow, okay.
can't they just do it and put it on you?
Yeah, actually, yeah, no, that would have been cool. I wish I could. I wish I could have wore the Elvira. No, wait a minute. No, I'm not ready.
But
You don't
yeah.
want to see me. You don't want to see me dressed up as Elvira.
No, I was not even going to say that. I didn't want to put that thought out
Nope,
there for
nope,
anybody,
nope. Get,
but you just
get
did
the
it.
thought out of your head. That's it. Oof, man, I got to wash my tongue. Oh,
We don't want to know how big your cleavage is, Randy.
Yeah, it's big enough. I need to lose it. Right. Really good. Yeah, I
Oh
love
man.
that piece. I love that piece. And
Oh, let's see.
Joe will also be at Wicked Comic Con
Oh,
along
sweet.
with Adam. Yeah, I don't think I posted that one on CAF. But Art Germ, Stanley Love. Wow.
Yeah, Art Germ's amazing, isn't he?
She just like looking like she's got some kind of agenda. Just oof, just
Yeah,
the essence. I just love it. And it's just like that Sienkiewicz piece. Again, I think that's featured in my gallery. It's just like when they nail it, they nail it. And Stanley nailed it. I have a hard time saying Art Germ. It's just like
yeah, no, I know.
it's just like it's like yes.
But a lot of times you say Stanley Lau, nobody knows who you're talking about.
Right, true. But you say Art
That's the
Germ,
problem.
wow,
Yeah, I've just always got
wow.
the habit of saying Art Germ.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's
He brought it on himself. I mean,
yeah, that's it. Just but I'm not known as Drunken Randy.
oh,
I
man.
didn't bring that on myself. Someone named that.
That's right. You can blame it on Allison.
Allison did it. It's her fault.
Now we did mention Mr. Cho earlier, and
and look, and it doesn't get any more personal than that when you're turned into Cousin Eerie. Uncle Creepy, Cousin Eerie, and please call the police because I think she got things on her mind. That's
brother.
it. And it knocks everything out of the park for me because it's just like, and I've probably used that term too many times, but it's just like, look what he did. I mean, Frank went bananas. Of course, then again, he is Monkey Boy Cho, right? He likes bananas. But look at the book, Randy's House of Terror. The pumpkin there. So it's all Halloween and Elvira. He put me in it. I'm just like, and I asked for nothing but Elvira. Yeah, that's one of the ones that I don't know if I could ever part with it.
You can't. I mean,
yeah,
not when you're drawn into it, and you have such a great bow tie on.
Yeah. And that expression. Help.
Exactly.
Help me.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Uh,
But yeah, that's the thing. You've seen so many great Frank Cho pieces, that his sense of humor is like no others. And
right. And there's no outrage with this one.
no, and right. Well, there's just no off switch on Frank. I mean,
it's
he goes full tilt
fun.
on pretty much anything. He draws whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And wants to do, and that's what makes him special. I mean,
and look at her face, so and the only red in it, her lips there, and it's just like, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's just like, just so. Oh yeah, the background, the background. He used red ink, but oh, just she's beautiful.
Hey, Boston Chatter, we did actually do the drawing earlier today, part of the show about we did it. We ran it as an earlier thing and drew the winner, and the winner was TAMD1. So sorry about that, sir. Let's see it. Any more Elvira? No, that was the last Elvira piece.
Well, that's the last of the Elvira, and I think that it gets a little more personal.
Yeah, we're switching over to Darwin, like we talked about earlier.
And with this. That was originally going to be a T-shirt design, and it was 2011. So the Photoshop worked to make it 2016, and we used it as a memorial for Dar. And I do. I even want to say that he was on the 2016 guest list when we got the news. And but anyways, it was going to be a T-shirt design. Back in whatever. Like I said, I think it was pretty sure it was 2011, and DC said nope, can't do it. So Darwin ended up auctioning the art, and none other than Albert Moy won the auction. I completely forgot it was ending because I would been, and to this day, Albert every time he's asked me, "Well, you would have outbid me." I go, "I think," and I forget. I threw a number at him. I said, "This was my max number." He goes, "You would have beat me." He finally conceded. It was like
You're
that.
like, you
Yeah,
still wouldn't have beat me.
at the time. No, no, he was like, he said, I
Oh,
think
you would
you
have
would have
beat it.
beat me. I said,
Oh,
yeah, I completely forgot about it.
uh,
I think he got it for like $3,000, and I said my number would have been $5,000. You know, but whatever. But Albert's got it. So out of the blue, Marcia, uh, um, Dar's widow, Dar's wife, she texts me. She goes, "What's your address?" And a few days later, there's a FedEx package on, and it's this prelim that, again, I'm sharing this here for for your eyes only. It's not posted in my CAF. It's, um, but I mean, wow, is that 100% Darwin though? When
oh
you look
yeah.
at it, you just see, just some minor changes here and there, but yeah, yeah, what a sweet gift though, and maybe someday I'll mug Albert and get the original out there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's some beauty.
Well, I mean, to have this alone, I mean, it's wonderful. I'm glad she remembered how important a piece was for you.
Yeah, yeah, it was that, and she knew how important Darwin was to me.
Right.
I'm gonna walk away just for a second, and real quick,
All right.
and, uh, and because being a big Wonder Woman fan and all that, but this was Darwin had a book here, Graphic Ink, which is so great. It's a
Yeah.
great book of his DC art, and in there too is seeing Green Arrow flipping the
Doesn't
bird.
Jimmy own that piece?
Yes, yeah, Jimmy
Yeah,
owns
I
that
remember
piece.
when I interviewed Jimmy like a year and a half ago. I'd love to have him back on, but I remember him showing that was one of his 18 pieces that
Yeah,
he picked as well because of
yeah.
just what an amazing artwork that is.
I took the slipcover off, and
Oh man, that's just amazing. Look at that. That's beautiful.
you know, and wow, Merry Christmas. That was a Christmas gift. Yeah, but love the man. Darwin was one of a kind. Did never held back. Yeah,
He's one of those guys I never got a chance to talk to. Honestly, I
yeah,
mean, his long lines, and I always shied away from long lines and things, and so I just never took that opportunity. But always loved his work, and he's one of the few artists I've never owned anything by either. I mean, uh, it's just his stuff is hard to get anymore, right? I mean, there's a few pieces over at Albert's site, but there's a few things that I've always been on the lookout for, and I just never. They just don't. The things that I want, I just don't come up too often.
and
So.
I've been neglecting, like I see Ben did say it was 2011
Oh, Ben said,
robbery
yeah.
robbery year, because he was like, he kind of had a little break in into his hotel. He was like, now, so they were having a party. Teenage Satan was something they were trying to get off the ground. His wife was Marcia was, yeah. So yeah, that was a fun year of that particular Boston Comic Con.
Well, we have
That's
one
really a
other.
robbery.
That's terrible.
Uh, yeah, you never want to leave your door cracked or anything like that. Accidentally had a
No.
click or whatever.
Yeah, I always tell my kids that it's like lock the windows. Come on, and everybody's like, come on. There's nobody's going to go through a window. I'm like, you just never know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
stuff like that. You know.
No, it is funny because I mean, see, we live in southern New Hampshire, and it's just always like, so I leave doors unlocked. But then again, we've got 100 and some odd pound kind of Corso Mastiff, So if you do want to come into the house, you got to
That's
deal with that.
at least you got that protection. You don't need an alarm system when you get that. Let's see. I know you gave me one more
And
piece,
that was what was left for me, Darwin.
and
Darwin.
that's you in the second panel, right?
Yeah, I'm getting a knife. I'm getting offed by Parker. and I actually get Parker his gun, so I'm a very, very important character in Slayground. And the only time that I've ever been in print, how cool is that? An Eisner Award-winning graphic novel, and yeah, there's a thanks in the back, and Jim Clancy, Ben DeFeo, me, or our Jane Santangelo, the hippie that's next to me, who runs off like a girl, and yeah, I mean when I got that, I was just like, wow, and just to see that art, it's stuff he did on that series of books was just amazing. It was such he was so passionate about that he actually had the typewriter from Westlake, who
Oh yeah.
was the author of those stories, the Parker novels, and was gifted the typewriter that Donald had used. But yeah, passion shows, man.
Yeah, and then, one of the interesting things about it was, doing the 2 pages, two published pieces on one board was always pretty cool. Very, very different. You don't see
Yeah,
stuff like that. And no, I mean, I think a lot of people regard, this is like some of Darwin's best work. Just it's so amazing. And again, these pieces, you almost never see them for sale. They just don't come up. And this is one of the series I'd love to get something from one day, just because it's so unique and beautiful. And yeah, but
this is for sale, 350.
everything. Yeah.
Everything is 350.
Rich Davies wants to know, who's the ponytail dude?
That is Giacomo Santangelo, James Santangelo. He is a professor at Fordham University, professor of economics, and I think now he has a beard that is just like, yes. But haven't seen him at a show in years now. Probably, I don't know. Probably closing in on 10 years. He kind of just drifted off, and his thing was Spider-Man. He was his theme was everything Spidey related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody's got to have a theme.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
I'm big on Thor.
And I did say, do we still have time? Can I show the one that got away?
Yeah, do that.
Okay. So basically, this is one that I did have that obviously I was so. I did a lot. I liked it a lot, but if you are familiar with Flex Mentallo, that's the first issue. I copied, even on DC Artboard, even made an overlay. You can't see it, but it was just like, that one got away, man. Kind of like say, you
White Leagues are tough.
You go, but what was cool was the guy that bought it is Nick Patera. Is one of Felix's artists, and he went bananas. So he not only bought the piece, but he also did a commission for me as well, and gave me this. And I was like, and there's every possible Elvira thing, from models to pops to magazines, and went crazy in the background stuff. But
so you made out.
Yeah, so it got away, but I got some Elvira in return.
Right. I mean, and again, Nick Patera is a huge Quitely fan. So,
yeah.
It went to a very good home. I mean, I would kill to get a Flex page of any.
350.
See, and for me as well, I one of my favorite pieces that I had to let go along with the Adam Hughes was a Frank Quitely. I own the cover to New X-Men 114, the first issue, where they were walking out. I owned that for about 3 years. Sold that one too. I know, I'm a fool, but I doubled my money. It was worth it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's like you just go. Something pops up. It happens. Like I said, I remember. I think I sent you the Hellboy image.
Yes, I do have that one.
I went and and Mike had some. Oh, you did keep it.
I did.
Yeah, and I lost a Hellboy piece that I had. It wasn't published, but it was a nice pen and ink, and I lost it. So my daughter get married. A Dave Stevens piece was part of that package. A Todd McFarlane Spider-Man page was part of that package. Weddings are expensive, but you look at it and you go, well, there, it went for good reason, you know. But yeah, now it's I again, like loving monsters, it's like, hey, so I have this magnolia piece, and it's a cool Hellboy, and it's for sale, $350. Somebody's gonna like take me up on it, like go, but you said it was $350. No, I lied.
That's right. He's lying tonight. He's lying, Randy, tonight.
I told you, fish stories. Fish stories. Yeah.
I know. Well, you're the only person to send me a photograph of yourself for the show thumbnail, and they're holding a fish. So,
I said there would be
everybody else is holding art.
The only fish story is every time 350 comes on, and that's my reference to South Park. This is what 350. Loch Ness Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, Loch Ness Monster.
Rich Danny's wanted to know what was the Dave Stevens piece that you had.
Oh, it was Stella Star, was the name of the piece, and it was Brooke, and it was a gorgeous piece. It was like a colored pencil piece on blue paper, easy to remember it.
Yeah,
and my daughter's been close to closing in on 20 years marriage. So I'm like,
yeah, I get it.
Well, I guess it had somewhat of an indelible impression on me.
Yeah, Rich says that was an early one. Rich is a big fan of Stevens, so he remembers it as well.
Yes, I am myself a big fan.
So you're saying, I've got two daughters, 18 and 20. So you're saying that I might have to sell some art in the near future.
Well,
I'm starting to get a little queasy over here.
Look on your walls, Bill, and cherish the moment now, because you never know. It could get out there. I missed that McFarlane page probably.
Was it a Spidey? Scott?
Yeah.
So it was a Spidey with McFarlane.
Yeah. Well, I've had two Spidey interiors, McFarlane interiors, and I got rid of my last one probably about 5-6 years ago. And it's so funny because I remember taking it to it has a nice big Spider-Man image in it, one in silver sables, and I remember showing the guy that has a John Dolmayan, drummer for System of a Down, right? And he goes, "I like it because I don't love it. I like it." So he had the opportunity there in front of him, and he passed on it. But I ended up selling it to a friend of mine in Mass, and I was just like, because I needed the money, and I didn't make much money on it. I mean, I especially I would have got a lot more today. Let's put it that way.
We all.
Yeah.
we could have all held on to certain things for 20 years.
Yeah. But I had it, It's like, and again, sometimes that's kind of cool. Just you go, I had this or I had that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay to say that you
there's always more art. You maybe can't afford it today, but the thing is, there's always something else you can buy, and there's always affordable art so maybe you don't get the things you want, but you can still keep buying. I mean, the art hobby continues to go around.
Well, I had, I had those Wonder Woman origin pages that they went to Joe Lee, and Joe, Joe's had some pretty good art.
Yeah, he's got a few nice pieces.
and Joe had sold them, and but then Joe ended up buying them back. So it's like. Because I know Kelvin had a couple of, I think he had the Power Girl origin pages, and I think he moved them. It's just like, you go, yeah, I had them, but for a reason. I remember that year it was a big, I got to pay my tax. I got a big tax bill. It was a big one. So yeah, that didn't quite. It put a little dent in it, but still had to pay more. But yeah, had him.
Well, that's so. Before we call it a night, anything else you want to talk about related to Wicked Comic Con?
I think you let me hit it out. I know that
we got everything.
Absolutely right. You said time flies, man. I'm like,
yeah. See, we hit 2 hours.
2 hours. holy cow.
I know. It's
2 hours I'm here. My God, what?
yeah.
But really, I'd probably say that's a really terrible Christopher Walken. I would probably.
I actually caught that it was Walken.
Did you?
You
Did you?
did pretty
Did you know
good.
that was? Yeah, I think I just want to go back to Wicked Comic Con in Boston,
Mhm.
April 22nd, April 23rd, and like I said, a great opportunity to meet a great group of artists, uh, some huge names, um, and an artist alley that is just packed with a lot of great local artists as well. I mean, we're just talking hundreds of artists, some of the top art dealers in the country, and without your support, are we going to be here next year? I hope so. We do already have April 20th and 21st penciled for next year, and that's
Got it booked
for the
already.
people that are seeing this. It's going to be quiet. I don't know if I'm even supposed to announce that yet, but I'm a part owner.
But you
So
did it anyway.
yes, I did it anyway. So maybe I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel.
Well, we
But
need more shows like yours. I mean, there
yeah,
aren't,
right.
they're a
Well, it
dying
is.
breed that
Your show,
focus.
Big Wow,
Yeah.
it's that, and that's the way that we used to do it,
Yeah.
back in the day, and it's the way that we're doing it, comics and comic art, and with a big focus on comic art, because we have so many artists, so it's kind of
Oh, Boston
that's
Chata
it.
says it's a great show.
Thank you,
Giving you the
thank
two
you,
thumbs up, I think, with that one.
thank
There
you,
we go.
and you can get a cropster roll, when you come to Boston. That's crab and lobster mixed together.
Crabster roll. I've never had.
Crobs,
Oh,
Cropster.
Crobster.
There's a
Crobster.
place called Yankee. Oh gosh, I'm going blank on it, but it's down in Seaport, and yeah, they do this thing called a Cropster roll. It's like $40. It's not
It must
cheap,
be
but
delicious.
it's delicious. Yeah, delightful. It's really like That's what Darwin would always say. It'd be like we took him to his first White Castle in New York, right? And he's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're eating. And somehow I was stupid and ordered like jalapeno ones. Like that's indigestion at 2 o'clock. And
Exactly. You're not gonna sleep.
he's just taking these bites in that slider, and he got regulars. He was smart, right? And he's just like, oh, these are delightful. What have I been missing?
Oh man.
Uh,
Oh geez. Well, you've had a lot of incredible experiences, Randy. I was almost going to call you Drunken Randy, but I didn't. But now I
yeah,
have you.
like I said,
But
the artist
it's
formerly known as. But I did get through one drink tonight.
you
My-
did. You
I
did.
melted, and I
Only
told you,
one. Only one, everybody.
once. I had a drink once.
And it is past your bedtime. But
It is.
Randy, this is fun, man. And I know I'm going to run a lot of PR for the show because Colin kind of handles all that stuff on CAF. So I
Thank you.
appreciate the fact that the Wicked Comic Con advertises with CAF too. I mean, we need to promote shows like yours, as best we can, because we need more shows like Wicked Comic Con or Baltimore or Heroes. Those are the ones that really I think are the most important to many of us as art collectors. We want to see these shows continue to do really well, and because again, there aren't enough that are focused so much on the creators in the hobby. So I appreciate that you guys have a show like that.
We need we need your support. We need everybody's support, and hopefully, like I said, I'm expecting big. I mean,
Good.
I really think it's going to do well. But like you said, so you don't know. It's like that for us. It tends to be that last week where the ticket
Yeah.
sales, then they start to go bananas, But I think also too, I think people are like waiting to see, is anyone else going to cancel or whatever, and artists.
Yeah, that's got to be the other
something
agonizing part of it.
Yeah, that's always that it's tough, but hopefully. Everyone stays the course. We just finished all travel today. Actually, we've got everybody booked now, so it's like.
Well, that's good. Yeah, when that's a milestone, right? Is to get all the travel stuff out of the way. Yeah, I remember those. So yeah, fortunately, I only would get reports on that kind of stuff. I didn't have to deal with that side of the business. I did all the marketing related things for Big Wow, and but we would get reports on that, and it was just always it's tough because, like you said, you're a month out and you just finished finalizing the travel for those people who you were covering the travel for. It's a lot of work. That's why shows don't make a whole lot of money when you figure all the people who are involved to kind of make a show happen. it's tough to make them profitable. You know, you got to do it because you love it, because you're not going to really get rich at running cons.
No. And I remember years ago when I started doing my own thing too, and it was like, well, if you break even, you're good.
Yeah. You know? And that is very true. If you can walk away and feel like you didn't lose any money, and you know that pretty much everybody walked away happy, then you did a darn good job.
Absolutely.
That's all you can hope for.
That's what we hope to do. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight. We sincerely appreciate it. TAMD1, thank you for winning the free VIP pass for the show. I know Tariq, you'll probably shoot me an email, but get it over to me tonight, and I will hook you up with Colin, and they'll get you on the VIP list and give you the instructions. Then,
you know, can I finish with this one last thing about Wicked?
Yeah, please do.
Because like I said, feeling very blessed, not just for the friendships and so on and all that, but the one thing I do want to call out is one of the original co-owners, who really was, funded all of this, to leave a legacy. He's backing out of it. His idea is to leave it for us. There's like 7 of us, I think, total, who had all worked with Boston Comic Con, and he felt like there was no legacy for those individuals. So he said, okay, you guys are the owners, you want to. I think we have something special here.
Mm-hmm. So
he put the money up to do it, and you know what? If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Wicked Comic Con, and so folks like me and Colin and Kirby and Bob Shaw and Kim and Pat, it's like we're blessed, so please, support us, and you being the marketing guy, Bill. Marketing, because I think we do have something special.
I agree. All right. Well, and it's at wickedcomiccon.com. So just check out the site. You can check out the full guest list. It is pretty spectacular. And again, with that many art dealers, you don't get too many shows where you have that many art dealers. It's always the big ones, New York or San Diego or the Comic Art Con in New Jersey. But so this is getting these guys out to Boston is a task. But you got a lot of good art dealers there and a lot of great artists. So
because the crops are real.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, listen, we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Randy, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's been a long time in the making. I'm glad glad you made that call.
Thanks. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.